December 8, 2019. Midway International Airport, Chicago. A private jet sits isolated on the tarmac. Federal agents move through the cabin in methodical silence. Evidence bags, photographs, documentation. Gerard Higgins, known to millions as WRLD, was pronounced dead less than an hour ago. He was 21 years old, but while investigators processed the scene, something else was happening. Something quiet, something deliberate. A phone number was disappearing. For 3 months, a crisis hotline had operated under WRLD's name. Mental health support, free, anonymous, funded by his management team. In 90 days, it had received over 6,000 calls, 6,000 voices reaching out in darkness. And now, as the news began to spread, as fans started searching desperately for answers, for connection, for help, the hotline went dead. No announcement, no forwarding message, no explanation, just a disconnected tone. The timing raises questions, questions that have never been answered. Who made the decision? Why that day? Why those hours? In crisis communications, there's a protocol. When a public figure dies, especially one whose music spoke directly to mental health struggles, support systems are supposed to expand, not vanish. But this was different. As investigators bagged evidence and documented every detail of that aircraft, a different kind of evidence was being erased. Digital, traceable, permanent, until it wasn't. Phone records, call logs, the infrastructure of 6,000 conversations, gone. The official narrative would focus on what happened on that plane, the substances found, the emergency, the tragedy. But nobody asked about the hotline. Nobody asked why, in the moment when his community needed it most, the one resource bearing his name went silent. This is the story nobody told. The crime scene everyone saw, and the cover-up nobody noticed. October 2019. WRLD stands at the absolute zenith of his career. Sold-out arenas, platinum plaques, millions streaming every single day. But while 20,000 fans scream his lyrics about pain and pills back at him, Gerard Higgins is drowning. He's open about it. Brutally, recklessly open. Interviews where he admits he might not make it to 21. Freestyles about his own funeral. Instagram stories documenting his spiral in real time. The world watches. Some laugh, some share, most scroll past. But Juice is watching too. He's reading every comment, every message. Thousands of kids telling him they want to die, that pills are the only thing that work, that his music is the only thing keeping them alive, and he can't ignore it. So he does something nobody knows about. He funds a hotline, out of his own pocket, 24 hours, 7 days a week, licensed counselors, real professionals. He hires them quietly, tells almost no one. The number gets passed around on Reddit threads and YouTube comments, whispered between fans who need help. Kids call about pills, about wanting to end it, about depression that won't lift. And Juice? He listens to the recordings. Late at night after shows, he sits in tour buses and hotel rooms, headphones on, listening to strangers pour out the same pain he's living with. He pays every bill, never asks for credit, never makes it public. His team doesn't understand. His label doesn't know. His accountant sees the expenses and asks questions he deflects. Because this isn't about publicity, this isn't content. This is Gerard trying to save people he knows he can't save, including himself. The hotline runs for months, hundreds of calls, maybe thousands. No press release, no social media announcement, no documentary crew, just a 21-year-old kid at the peak of his fame. Fighting demons he broadcasts to the world while secretly trying to rescue others from theirs. October 2019. WRLD has everything, and he's more terrified than he's ever been. Because he knows what's coming. He's been telling us all along. We started digging where others stopped looking. The hotline number WRLD included in his final album, the one that played his voice, the one that vanished. 3 months of dead ends, lawyers blocking every path. Then we found them. 3 former hotline operators, all bound by non-disclosure agreements, all afraid to speak. One finally broke. We took calls for maybe 72 hours, she tells us, her voice distorted to protect her identity. Then we got a message. Shut it down. Delete everything. Sign this. The NDAs were ironclad, penalties in the six figures, but someone was listening to those calls. Someone was recording them. Kids were crying, another operator reveals, telling Juice things they'd never told anyone, except it wasn't Juice. It was just his voice. Pre-recorded messages. They thought he could hear them. We pulled archived web captures, digital fingerprints that can't be erased. The number was registered to a shell company, an LLC with no employees, no office, no history. 72 hours after WRLD's passing, that company was dissolved. Bank accounts closed. Digital trail scrubbed. We reached out to his label. They denied any involvement, called it unauthorized and under investigation. His management team won't return our calls. His family's lawyers sent a cease and desist. But here's what we know. Someone set up that hotline. Someone paid those operators. Someone collected those calls from grieving fans. And someone made sure every trace disappeared. The phone records show over 15,000 calls in those 72 hours. 15,000 people reaching out to a voice that couldn't answer back. Where did those recordings go? Who was listening? And why did they need to erase it all so quickly? Someone wanted this buried, which means someone has something to hide. The question isn't just what happened, it's who's covering it up and why. The evidence exists in fragments, digital breadcrumbs scattered across a landscape that no longer wants to be found. November 2019. Reddit forums light up with activity. Fans sharing screenshots, spreading a phone number like wildfire. He actually answers, one post reads. Called at 2 a.m. and Juice picked up himself. Another, this saved my life last night. The posts multiply, hundreds of them. Desperate voices reaching out into the void, finding something real on the other end. But it wasn't just Reddit. Instagram DMs tell a different story, a more intimate one. Messages obtained from former associates show Juice personally following up with callers. "You good, bro," he'd write, "just checking in." Some conversations lasted weeks. The operation wasn't small. Financial records paint a clearer picture. $40,000 every month. Server costs, phone lines, a team of trained counselors on standby. This wasn't a publicity stunt. This was infrastructure. And then, nothing. The digital trail doesn't fade. It's erased, deliberately, methodically. Server logs, deleted within 72 hours of his passing. The website domain, transferred to an unknown buyer. Offshore registration, untraceable. The call records, missing entirely, as if they never existed. Investigators hit walls at every turn. Phone companies cite privacy laws. Social media platforms claim data retention policies. The counselors who worked the lines, non-disclosure agreements, ironclad. One former team member speaks on condition of anonymity. "We were told to destroy everything. Every recording, every log, every piece of paper with a name on it. They said it was to protect the callers, but it felt like protection of a different kind." The evidence that remains is circumstantial. Testimonials, screenshots that could be fabricated, memories that might be distorted by grief. But thousands remember. Thousands called. Thousands heard his voice when they needed it most. The question isn't whether the hotline existed. The question is, who wanted it forgotten? And why did they work so hard to make it disappear? The number stopped working on December 9th, 2019. One day after Juice died, no announcement, no explanation, just silence. Former callers still have it saved in their phones. They still dial it sometimes, still hoping to hear his voice on the other end. But here's what nobody talks about. Who made the decision to shut it down? And why won't anyone admit it even existed? We reached out to Grade A Productions. No response. Interscope Records declined to comment. His mother's foundation, Live Free 999, when asked directly about the hotline, said they have no record of it. No record. But thousands of people remember. The screenshots exist, the recordings exist, the memories exist. One former associate, speaking on condition of anonymity, told us, "It became a liability the moment he passed. You had a dead artist telling kids to stay alive. The optics were complicated." Another source close to the estate said, "There were legal concerns. What if someone called and still, who's responsible then?" So they erased it, scrubbed it from the narrative, turned a genuine act of vulnerability into a footnote that officially never happened. Because dead artists need to be brands, and brands need to be clean. But WRLD was never clean. That was the whole point. 3 years later, the people who knew the truth still won't break their silence. NDAs. Grief. Fear of tarnishing his legacy. But the fans, they remember everything. They're still calling, still leaving voicemails into the void, still hoping someone, somewhere is listening. Because if Juice taught them anything, it was that reaching out, even into darkness, even when nobody answers, still matters. The line may be dead, but the need for it never died. And that's the real unanswered question. If one artist's personal phone number could help thousands of people feel less alone, why did the industry decide that was too dangerous to let survive? 3 years of silence and counting.